don't have my Canadian flag up. Hang on.
Hurry up. Oh, Canada, our home and native land. True patriots love. I don't remember the rest of the song after that.
Welcome to Canadian Football League Weekly, presented by the World of Football. Each week, we're going to be recapping the games played up north in the CFL, and we also look ahead to next week's games. Our mission here on this podcast is to educate American football fans on the teams and players in the CFL in the hopes that you will come to love this league as much as we do. I'm Randy Snow, and this is my son, Adam.
Good day, everybody. Hi, Canada. We love you. We love your football league, and we love your kickoffs. So,
As mentioned last week, yes, we sure do. There's a lot to like about the CFL, and hopefully, after you watch some of this and you go and check out the highlights yourself, we'll tell you where to find them. You'll love this league because it is just a lot of fun. Everybody says there's no football going on this time of year. Wrong. We've got plenty of CFL action and other leagues going on, but here we're only talking about the CFL. So let's start with the scores from this past week. Starting on Thursday night, it was the Winnipeg Blue Bombers over the BC Lions 34-20. It was the battle of Chris Streveler versus Nathan Rourke. First game for Winnipeg, they were on a bye the first week, so the Blue Bombers led in this game 10-3 after the first quarter. They were also up 18-10 at halftime. Winnipeg was up just 28-20 at the end of the third, but they pulled away in the fourth quarter to win this game. Chris Streveler looked really good in this game as a backup, filling in for Zach Collaros, who's on suspension for missing a drug test or something like that. But he should be back next week. But yeah, Chris Streveler was 15 of 24 passing for 246 yards. He threw 3 touchdown passes and did have an interception. Running back Matthew Peterson had 23 carries for 130 yards and a touchdown, his first touchdown in the CFL, by the way. Wide receiver Carrick Wheatfall had 5 catches for 127 yards and a touchdown, while wide receiver Nick Dembski had 4 catches for 53 yards and 2 touchdowns. What do you think about that, Adam? It was quite a performance by Chris Streveler.
hey, the whole Blue Bombers team, that whole stadium was rocking. They were saying during the broadcast, get your tickets now for the Grey Cup because
Yeah.
that stadium was packed, and they're going to pack that thing out there in Winnipeg. I think especially this team, the Blue Bombers make it again for what would it be, the 6th straight year?
I think so, yes, 6 in a row.
This team, man, other than losing the last 3 Grey Cups, this team is always there at the end of the year now. They are pretty much the model franchise in the CFL. They had a bye last week, and they had the backup quarterback, I guess. Streveler's always had flashes of being really good, and he was very serviceable. I thought he looked fantastic. He threw a couple of dimes in this game, and they even had to deal with a running back injury too. That allowed Pearson to kind of step up during this game and kind of carry things there. I thought Winnipeg just looked really great against a BC team that I was kind of pulling for. I thought with Nathan Rourke, who looked great last week after a little bit of a slow start. But that Winnipeg defense really had their way with Nathan Rourke. They got to him a lot of pressure on him.
Yes.
Man, he took some hits during this game. So watch out for this Winnipeg team. They've got one game under their belt, and oh my gosh, it's hard to. We've got a couple teams already that I'm like, dang, who's going to beat these teams? I know we're only 2 weeks into the season, but I'm already like, who's going to beat the Blue Bombers? We'll talk about another team a little later. That I'm like, I'm just flabbergasted at how consistently good some of these teams are.
Yeah. Nathan Rourke in this game for BC, he was 12 of 27 passing for 249 yards. He had a touchdown and an interception. He also ran for 58 yards and another touchdown. Wide receiver Keon Hatcher had 4 catches for 150 yards and a touchdown. This was a great game. Streveler, he's been a backup up there for a long time, and he's mainly the guy that comes in on third down to get that 1 yard. He's a running quarterback. I just have never seen him sling the ball around like that in this game, but that was awesome. So he should be very proud of his performance in this game. That's for sure.
I think I know Collaros, who's supposed to be back next week after a 1-game suspension. that just makes me think that, if something else happens with Caleros, you got a very serviceable guy there
Yeah,
in Strevler to rely on.
absolutely.
So the Blue Bombers are just loaded and ready to go. So
Yeah,
watch out for them. If you're the BC Lions, time to dust yourself off and move on to next week, because that was a big litmus test playing Winnipeg, and
yeah,
we'll see what happens to them going forward. I think Rourke, man, that offensive line's got to help him out a little more.
yeah, yep. All right, let's move on to the next game. On Friday night, it was the Montreal Alouettes over the Ottawa Redblacks, 39-18. This was a battle between Davis Alexander for Montreal and Matthew Schiltz for Ottawa. Uh, Quarterback Drew Brown, who played in last week's game, was out for this one with a hip injury. So, yeah, they had another backup in for a CFL game this week. Montreal was up 3-0 at the end of the first quarter, and they led 19-3 at halftime. Uh, Ottawa outscored Montreal in the third quarter, 15-7, but it made the score close. It was 26-18 at that point. But in the fourth quarter, defensive back Wesley Sutton had a pick six to make the score 36-18 as Montreal took the win in Ottawa. Yeah, that was a great interception. I think it got tipped, and he was blitzing, and it landed right in his arms, and he just took off running. And great highlight there. Go check those out on the CFL website.
Yeah, I feel bad. I thought it stinks that with the injured quarterback there for Ottawa, because I thought Drew Brown looked great last week.
Yeah,
Ottawa was a team I was like, despite them losing, I was like, this is a team to watch out for. Now here they are. They dropped down to 0-2, and this Alouettes team again, like the team that played in the Eastern Final, a team that was Grey Cup champion a couple years ago. This is another team. I'm just like, who's going to stop these guys? Just
yeah,
they are loaded. It seems like in every level of the game, and I'm very anxious to see how the Alouettes go. And we'll talk about the standings in the East, but right now the Alouettes are sitting very pretty. Only 2 weeks into the season.
yeah. Yeah, quarterback Davis Alexander was 23 of 32 passing for 344 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Wide receiver Tyler Snead had 4 catches for 117 yards, and wide receiver Austin Mack had 5 catches for 103 yards in this game. For Ottawa, Schiltz had 22 of 32 passing for 205 yards. He had a touchdown and 3 interceptions. Eugene Lewis led the receiving corps with 5 catches for 56 yards. Yeah, just not a great showing for Ottawa after last week, but I don't know how long Drew Brown might be out with a hip injury, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Uh, Hopefully he gets back soon.
Hopefully he gets back soon. They could use him. I mean, getting shut out in the fourth quarter for Ottawa definitely didn't help. But how about the performance of Montreal kicker, by the way, during this game? Jose Maltos, 6 for 6 on his field goals, including a 50-yarder. So
Yeah,
uh, we love our CFL kickers. If y'all haven't noticed over the last couple of years of doing this show, and there's a lot of good kickers out there in the CFL. Maltos
yeah.
being one of the best ones. So
Kicking is a big part of the CFL game, whether it's punts, kickoffs, or field goals and extra points. They're a very big part of the game up there. I think more so than in the States. So,
yeah,
okay, I'm sorry.
sorry,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
real quick. They are not afraid to kick field goals in this league. Obviously, with the 3 downs instead of 4, you see a lot more field goal attempts. Yeah, you might get a rouge, if you miss
Yep,
it.
yep.
That's always kind of in play, some strategy there. But I like that the CFL does that, because there's another league we talk about, the AF1, where I feel like they don't kick it enough. In the CFL, though, I think we get the right amount of kicking in here, and I love it.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about the Rouges here in a minute, but I
Oof.
just want to take a moment to say that we also have a weekly podcast that we do, an audio podcast. It's called This Week in the World of Football, and we're coming up on our 400th episode on July 4th, or July 1st, I'm sorry, the
The
1st, which
first,
is a
yep.
Tuesday. Yep. And we're going to do it live for the first time ever. Adam's been saying we needed to do a live show, and I guess we're going to do it. It's going to be 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have some special guests and some contests and giveaways, and uh, it could be great. Could be a train wreck. You better tune in and find out which it is.
Right. And that's on Canada Day, by the way, everybody. So for all of you Canadians up there who are just chilling on Canada Day, check us out. We'll be here. We'll talk some CFL that night, I'm sure. We'll talk a lot of stuff around the world of football.
Right.
It's kind of our brand, talking
Yeah.
about stuff all over the world of football.
Yep. All right. And then there was two games on Saturday. The first game, it was the Calgary Stampeders over the Toronto Argonauts, 29-19. It was 1-0 Toronto at the end of the first quarter, thanks to a missed field goal, and that's a rouge. So
Yep.
if you're not familiar with that, if you miss a field goal and it goes into the end zone, there's a guy back there that has to bring the ball out, like a punt. Otherwise, if they don't bring it out of the end zone, it's 1 point for the team that missed the kick, and that's what happened in this situation. Sometimes on a really short field goal, it'll go way out of the end zone. So regardless, that's a rouge. So
Yep.
that's a part of the game. Some people hate it. I like it myself. It's been there for a long time. It's very Canadian, and I don't want to see them change that. It's just a part of the CFL game.
I love the Rouge. I really honestly do. I do, however, concede that maybe there does need to be a tweaking of the rule in like the last 2 minutes of a game or something like that, or the 2 minutes of a half, because as we saw last year, what happened, and we're getting a little sidetracked. The whole kicking a field goal, missing it, and winning a game by a point was kind of, it blew up American Twitter. Like, what in the world is happening up there in Canada? It's like, that's just the rules, and I had no problem with it at the time, but I could understand. I think we even know some Canadian fans who are like, yeah, maybe that rule needs to be tweaked just slightly, especially at the end of a game, because it's not as exciting when it's like, oh, I can miss a field goal and still win the game. Like, I do think maybe it's got to be tweaked in the last 2 minutes or so.
Yeah. Well, it would have to be in the last 3 minutes because in the
Yeah,
CFL
3 minutes.
they have a 3 minute warning, not a 2 minute warning. Just another little difference between the
You know
NFL
what
and
I
the
mean?
CFL. I
You
know
you
what
knew
you were
what I
trying to
meant.
say. Yes, I'm trying to explain that to the followers here that maybe aren't familiar with the CFL. They have a 3 minute warning. We have a 2 minute warning in the NFL. All right, so let's get back to the game. Calgary
Yeah,
defensive back AJ Green had a pick six for a touchdown in the second quarter, and he had a second interception before halftime. So he had two interceptions in the first half. Calgary led 9-4 at halftime. Toronto was awarded a second rouge in the third quarter when their punt went out of the end zone and was not returned by Calgary. So two rouges in that game. The Stampeders led 12-8 at the end of three, and the teams traded scores in the fourth, with Calgary getting the win in the end. So it was it was a good game. Calgary's one of my favorite teams.
yeah. Can you remind me? I can't remember if it was this game or the next game, or if it was in one of the previous games. There was a rouge, and it was like one of the coolest rouges you're gonna get because it literally rolled and hit the pylon at the goal line. What game was that one?
I
Is that coming
I
up?
think that might have been in the game coming up. I can't remember. Yes, there
Okay,
was.
I can't remember either.
Yes,
I
yeah,
should have
it
wrote
was
that
rolling
down, and I
towards
forgot. It was
it was
great.
rolling towards the end zone, and it hit the pylon and went out of bounds. But technically, the pylon is in the end zone, so that constituted a rouge right then and there. Yeah,
I thought that was
absolutely.
awesome. That's my top play of the year so far in the CFL. Spoiler alert.
Well, in this game, Vernon Adams for the Stampeders was 17 of 25 passing for 301 yards, no touchdowns. He also ran 7 times for 54 yards and a touchdown. Wide receiver Jalen Philpott had 6 catches for 116 yards. For Toronto, quarterback Nick Arbuckle filling in for Chad Kelly once again. He still isn't quite covered from his leg injury of last year. Nick Arbuckle was 31 of 42 passing for 309 yards. He had a touchdown and 2 interceptions. He also had a rushing touchdown. And wide receiver DeMonte Coxey had 6 catches for 98 yards and a touchdown in the game. One of the cool things was, because they won the Grey Cup last year, this was their first home game, so they got to unveil their championship banner for winning the 111th Grey Cup last November, which we just happened to be at, and it was an awesome
Yeah.
occasion. And can't wait to do another Grey Cup sometime because the whole week was just an awesome event. Uh,
Yep.
Loved it
And
so
then
much.
you
Can't wait to
ordered,
go back.
yeah, then you ordered your replica championship ring. I saw
Yes.
that. I got mine
Yes.
ordered too. Because we
Yep.
were asking them last week, like, when are they gonna sell the replicas? Well, that night, like as soon as we got done recording, they announced that they were on sale for people to purchase.
Right.
So I think we both went and bought our own.
Yeah, they were giving away 60,000 of those rings at the game last
Mm-hmm.
week. So yeah, we weren't there. We'll probably go to another game this later on this year, I hope. But we'll see. But yeah, when I saw the rings and they were giving them away, I'm like, oh man, we should be there and get our free ring for going to the game. But you know what? I'm fine with ordering it online and getting one here at the house to put on the shelf, because that's going to
Yeah.
be an awesome souvenir from here on.
Heck yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the final game of the weekend. The Saskatchewan Roughriders, and I'm wearing one of their shirts here, defeated the Hamilton Tiger Cats 28-23. This was a battle between Trevor Harris and Bo Levi Mitchell. Hamilton led 7-6 at halftime. In the third quarter, defensive back Roland Milligan had a pick six for Saskatchewan to put the Roughriders up 14-7. Saskatchewan led 17-10 at the end of the third quarter. The game was tied 20-20 with 10 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Saskatchewan scored on a touchdown pass from Harris to Keyshawn Johnson. Not that Keyshawn Johnson. This is a whole different Keyshawn Johnson. No relation.
No relation.
and they hung on to win, defeating Hamilton 28-23 in Hamilton.
Yeah. Trevor Harris looked great during this game, by the way. I thought he looked good. Saskatchewan as a whole, I felt like the last two games, they played in the games of the week for me so far. This game was great. I thought Hamilton looked pretty good too. They showed flashes of life, but at the end of the day, they just couldn't get it done. This Saskatchewan defense is one of my favorite units in the CFL right now. They got a few guys that just are making plays. You talked about Roland Milligan. He's been great. They got a couple other linebackers there that have just been playing out of their minds and fantastic. Harris was 26 of 37, 295 yards. He threw a touchdown and a pick. Running back AJ Olette ran 13 times for 98 yards and a touchdown. And you talked about Keyshawn Johnson. He had 8 catches for 124 yards and a TD. For Hamilton, Bo Levi Mitchell, 26 of 40 for 336 yards, a touchdown and an interception. Wide receiver Kenny Lawler had 10 catches for the Ticats for 162 yards. And I think that is all 4 games, if I'm wrong, not mistaken, where the quarterback with the most yards, yet again, is the losing quarterback.
Yep, absolutely. We've been saying that for years. It's always the losing quarterback that has the better stats than the winning quarterback. It's just the way it is. And then on bye last week was the Edmonton Elks. So that runs out last week's schedule of games. Looking at the standings, after 2 weeks in the East, Montreal is 2-0, and that leaves Toronto, Hamilton, and Ottawa with 0-2 records.
Jeez,
and then over in the West,
I was gonna say, good for Montreal. That's what I was talking about earlier. They got a nice little cushion there in the East Division already, and they aren't even going to play any of their division rivals next week. So they could increase that lead a little more.
All right, in the West Division, it's the Calgary Stampeders and the Saskatchewan Roughriders at 2-0. Winnipeg is now 1-0 after playing in their first game, and the BC Lions are 1-1, and the Edmonton Elks are 0-1 on the season. And looking ahead to next week, on Thursday, it's going to be Montreal at Edmonton. Friday night, it's going to be Saskatchewan at Toronto. Saturday night, 2 games again, just like this week. It's going to be Ottawa at Calgary and Winnipeg at BC, with Hamilton on a bye. And if you're here in the States, like us, you get to watch these games on CBS Sportsnet. And 3 of these 4 games are going to be on CBS Sportsnet this week. The Thursday night game, the 2 Saturday games are going to be on CBS Sportsnet. If you want to catch the Friday night game, you can do it on CFL Plus. Just go to the CFL.ca website, look on how do I watch these games, and it'll take you to CFL Plus. One time during the season, you have to put in your first name, last name, and an email address, and I think your zip code too. But after that, you're good to go for the season. And it's the same broadcast they see on TV. You just got to watch it on your laptop, cast it to your TV or whatever. But you can catch all the games on CFL Plus. But the other 3 will be on CBS Sportsnet, which I get on my satellite system. So I'm very happy about that.
And I get that on YouTube TV as well. So if you guys got YouTube TV, I'm sure there's some other services you could get that had CBS Sportsnet on it to watch those games. Yeah, CFL Plus is great. I love CFL Plus. It's free. It's easy. Can't recommend it enough. There's no excuse for people to miss CFL games unless you have a prior engagement.
Okay. Anything else before we wrap this up this week? Some great
games. Other than the fact that Winnipeg and BC are going at it again 2 weeks in a row. So Winnipeg starting off the year against BC twice. Now it's going to Vancouver, where they just lost the Grey Cup. I'm sure they want a little bit of revenge from being in that building last time. So we'll we'll see how everything goes. I'm very excited. I think the game I'm most excited about, though, is going to be probably that Ottawa Calgary game. I think of all the games, that's the one that might be the sneaky good one. Calgary's kind of been, while they're undefeated, they still got some improvement to do, and we'll see what kind of not Trevor Harris, what kind of Vernon Adams shows up. I had to think about that one for a second.
All right. Well, that's all for this week. Tune in again next week when Adam and I are going to review all the games played up north of the border. We'll be here through the CFL regular season, the postseason, as well as the 112th Grey Cup game, which is going to be in Winnipeg this year on November 16th. Check out highlights of all the games in the CFL each week at cfl.ca/videos. You'll find individual game replays and recaps, about 8-10 minutes for a recap for the whole game. They've got all the best plays. It's really, really good. They do a great job on their recap videos.
They really do.
Yep. And if you don't have a team up there that you can call your own like we do, we're basically Toronto Argonauts fans, but we love all the teams up there. We really do. If you want to get some help on trying to pick out a team to be your team this year, let us know. You can let us know in the comments, and you might just find out just how much fun this league really is up there.
Yep, all you got to do, leave your comment down below or on any of our social media stuff and say, guys, I need a CFL team. And the Magic Sorting Hat will help you out and will give you a team to root for this year.
Yeah. Yeah. So, if we don't know the answer to any of your questions, we know some people up in Canada who can answer that for you. So we'll find you the answers to some of your questions about the CFL. But just keep watching. You'll figure it out for yourself. All right. Remember, folks, some people may love football more than we do, but nobody, and I mean nobody, loves more football than Adam and I sitting here in Kalamazoo, Michigan, talking about football every week. Until next time, I'm Randy Snow.
And I'm hoping the Argonauts get a win next week.
Yeah. And we'll see you all next week somewheres around the 55-yard line.